What if I told you that you can turn off the stress in your mind in just 60 seconds? No pills, no endless meditation, no need to hide in a Himalayan cave. Sounds too good to be true? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could become your superpower against chaos. My name is Adam, and like you, I've found myself buried under impossible deadlines, bills that seem to appear out of nowhere, and that feeling of running without ever arriving. If you ever felt like the world is crushing you, as if you're part of some secret social experiment, then this video is for you. Did you know that 77% of adults, that's right, nearly 8 out of 10 of us, carry stress like an invisible weight that never lets go? It's not just a fleeting, I'm nervous moment. It's a silent force that devours your energy, steals your health, and dims that spark that makes you feel alive. Imagine this. While you're reading this, millions of people are struggling against an invisible enemy that doesn't explain how to win. I know this battle all too well. There was a time when stress was my constant shadow. Endless days at work, deadlines laughing in my face, a little voice in my head whispering, "You can't handle this all the time." It was like running a marathon with an elephant on my back, with no finish line in sight, just a constant echo of try harder, fail more. Ever felt that way? That sense that rest is a luxury you'll never reach? But here's the game changer. What if I told you I discovered a way to flip the script? A technique as ancient as the philosophers in togas and as sharp as today's science? It blends the best of Stoicism, the calm of Buddhism, and the tricks of modern psychology to not only alleviate stress, but transform it from a monster into a messenger. Want to know the secret to regaining control of your life in a minute? Hold on to that curiosity, because I'm about to reveal it all. In the next 30 minutes, you'll learn a proven strategy that has lifted the weight off my shoulders and changed the lives of thousands of people. An approach so simple it seems like child's play, yet so powerful it's almost a superpower. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Pause the video for a quick second and comment below in one word. How is stress knocking you down today? Anxiety? Fatigue? Pressure? Let's start this revolution together. Your response is the first step. Stress, the unwanted guest invading your life. You know that lazy cousin who shows up at your house unannounced, raids your fridge, and takes over your couch? Stress is exactly like that. It doesn't knock. It barges in, puts its feet up on the table, and starts messing with your mind without asking for permission. And before you know it, it's taken over everything. Now, check this out. 77% of adults live with chronic stress. That means, as you watch this video, millions of people around the world are being sucked into the same invisible black hole. But don't worry, because now I'm going to show you how to send this unwanted guest packing. And the answer comes from a technique that mixes Stoic philosophy, modern neuroscience, and the ancient wisdom of Buddhism. Stress is exactly like that annoying, inconvenient cousin who shows up at your house unannounced. It doesn't ask for permission, doesn't respect your schedule, and worse, seems to love making you feel like a hostage in your own mind. It's not just a fleeting sensation that goes away with a cup of tea or a calming song. No, stress is a silent intruder, a master sabotage that slowly eats away at your energy like termites gnawing at an old beam until you realize the entire structure of your piece is shaking. I know this because I've lived it in the flesh. There was a time in my life when stress wasn't just a visitor. It had set up a permanent campsite in my head, complete with a campfire and a playlist of worries on repeat 24/7. It was like carrying an elephant on my back while running a never-ending marathon. Each step felt heavier, more pointless, as if the invisible animal whispered in my ear, "Go ahead, try to ignore me, I dare you." Work that never ended, deadlines laughing in my face, and a constant feeling that I wasn't enough. It felt like the universe had put me in a reality show called Survive If You Can, but without the prize at the end. The ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius had already figured out the secret that I only discovered after many stumbles. Suffering doesn't come from things that happen outside, the traffic, the boss yelling the overdue bill, but in the editing room of our minds, where an internal director takes each scene of life and turns it into an Oscar-worthy drama. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, said Marcus Aurelius. They knew that we don't suffer from what is, but from what we think about what is. And it took me a while to realize that my imaginary elephant was just a poorly written script. On the science side, stress is like an inheritance from our cave-dwelling ancestors. When we get nervous, whether from a late-night email or an argument on WhatsApp, our bodies react as if a bear is roaring in front of us. The brain activates survival mode. Cortisol and adrenaline become an explosive cocktail in our veins. Our hearts race like war drums, and we enter a state of fight or flight. But in the modern world, there's no bear to run from. There's the boss, the traffic, the bills. It's like the night watchman of our minds has had too much coffee and is constantly shouting, "Danger!" even when the only risk is spilling coffee on your shirt. And the consequences? A domino effect that brings everything crashing down. The heart becomes a wild drum. The mind spins faster than a Black Friday blender on sale. The immune system decides to take a vacation. Bye, I'll let you catch that cold. And the body starts aging prematurely, as if stress is an Instagram filter that adds extra wrinkles. Metaphorically, we're like a smartphone with 50 apps open at once, draining the battery, overheating the processor, until crash. Black screen. Goodbye productivity, hello chaos. Even the greats feel it. Steve Jobs revolutionized the world with Apple, but stress led him to ulcers and sleepless nights. He shaped the future, but paid a high price. Elon Musk, the guy behind rockets and impulsive tweets, has admitted to living under maximum pressure, tweeting crazy ideas while the world waits for him to deliver the impossible. And Michelle Obama? She wrote in Becoming how balancing life as a lawyer, the wife of a rising politician, and the first lady was an emotional tightrope. Stress hit hard, but she learned to tame it with boundaries, self-care, and a firm footing in reality. In Buddhism, suffering isn't the end of the line. It's an invitation to grow. The mind is like a lake. Stress is the waves, but calmness is always there at the bottom. Teaches a philosophy. Each challenge becomes a personal lesson from life, where you're both the student trying to understand and the teacher trying to teach. How many times have you let stress drive the movie of your life, as if you were just an extra watching the chaos unfold? I've done it more times than I can count. But today I know that it's possible to change the script. Challenge. Pause the video now and tell me in the comments, what was the most stressful moment of your week? It could be your boss, the traffic, or even your dog barking at the wrong time. I promise not to judge. I just want to hear your story. Stress, the hacker of your inner peace. Think of stress as a smart virus that invades the operating system of your life. It doesn't warn you, doesn't knock. It just enters and hijacks everything. Your energy, your creativity, your will to get out of bed with a smile. My journey with it started so slowly that I didn't even notice. I was young, full of dreams, thinking that working 16 hours a day was a path to glory. Until my body started screaming. Migraines that felt like hammer blows to the head, insomnia that turned the night into a loop of thoughts, and a weight on my chest that seemed to say, "Stop or I'll stop you." That's when stress became my unwanted roommate. I remember one specific day, stuck in traffic, my phone dead, a deadline waiting at work. My head was a blender of worries. I'm going to be late. I'm going to fail. What will they think of me? My heart was racing so fast it felt like I was going to explode. And the worst part? There was nothing I could do but sit there, trapped, with the elephant on my back laughing at me. It was a wake-up call. Either I learned to deal with this, or it was going to take me down for good. Michelle Obama, the master of resilience. If anyone understands stress and overcoming it, it's Michelle Obama, before becoming the first lady who inspired the world. She was a lawyer in Chicago, navigating a competitive and sexist corporate world. Being a black woman in spaces dominated by white men wasn't just work. It was a daily battle against stereotypes, external doubts, and the pressure to prove her worth. In Becoming, she shares how stress almost consumed her. Long hours at the office, the feeling of never being good enough, and the struggle to maintain her sanity, while the world demanded more and more. When Barack entered the picture, it wasn't love at first sight with guaranteed peace. She had to recalibrate everything. Give up a promising career to support his dream, raise 2 daughters under the spotlight, and then take on a role of First Lady, where every word, every outfit, every gesture was scrutinized. Stress was a constant monster, but Michelle turned the tables. How? She set clear boundaries. No, I won't do everything. Prioritize self-care, walks, time with her daughters. kept her family as her anchor, and practiced mindfulness before it became trendy. She didn't just survive, she thrived. The anatomy of stress, science and philosophy united. Scientifically, stress is a biological relic. Our bodies release cortisol and adrenaline as if we're running from a predator. But today, the predator is a boring meeting or a bill in the red. It's an outdated alarm in the brain. It doesn't know the difference between a mugging and a rude email. The result? Total burnout. Racing heart, depression and anxiety lurking. Immunity in the gutter, wrinkles appearing and creativity gone. The Stoics already understood this. We don't control what happens, but how we react, said Marcus Aurelius. Stress is a virus that corrupts the mind's processing, but we can install an antivirus. In Buddhism, suffering is an opportunity for expansion. Observe your thoughts like clouds passing, teaches the Dalai Lama. Each wave of stress is an invitation to dive deeper into calm that already exists within you. Real stories, Mary and Tim. I met Mary, a 28-year-old programmer who lived in a whirlwind of codes and deadlines. It was a maze with no exit, she told me. My mind would freeze like a PC with 1,000 tabs open. Until she discovered the present's anchor, she breathed like a gentle wave, observed her thoughts without fighting them, and created a space of calm. It wasn't instant magic, but little by little, she regained control. And then there's Tim, a 35-year-old teacher, buried under noisy teenagers and school bureaucracy. I was a tree in a hurricane, he says, but with breaths between classes, mindfulness intention, and reshaping challenges, he turned the tables. These stories show stress is universal, but so is the way out. Final challenge. How many times have you let stress hijack your peace? Pause the video and tell me, what was your worst stress moment this week? How did you handle it? Let's share these stories. Each response is a step towards turning chaos into strength. The revealed technique, your key to freedom in 60 seconds. Imagine your mind as a stormy sea, with waves of worry, fear, and tension crashing nonstop. What I'm about to teach you is the equivalent of throwing an anchor that stabilizes everything in seconds. And it's just 4 steps which can be done anywhere, anytime. Step 1, conscious breathing, the neurological reset. You'll inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. This rhythm calms your nervous system and sends a message to your brain. Relax, there's no danger here. Studies show that this breathing pattern reduces cortisol levels, the stress hormone, in minutes. Step 2, sensory anchoring, connecting with the now. Feel something physical around you. Your feet on the ground, the texture of your clothes, the temperature of the air. This pulls your attention away from the mental whirlwind and brings you back to the present. Step 3, instant resignification, the Stoic mind hack. Listen to this phrase from philosopher Emperor Marcus Aurelius. You don't control events, but you control how you react to them. Take the thought that's draining you and rewrite the story. Instead of I will fail, try I am learning. It seems simple, but it changes how your brain processes stress. Step 4, physical reset, the final release. Intentionally relax your shoulders, jaw, and forehead. Let your body send a message to your mind. Everything is under control. Now, let's test it together. Close your eyes and follow the 4 steps with me. Ready? Let's do the first step together. Breathing, but not the kind that happens on autopilot. This is different. Think of it as a gentle breeze sweeping the chaos from your mind. Now, inhale for 4 seconds, slowly, filling your lungs with calm, like drawing in the fresh morning air. Hold for 2 seconds, a brief pause, like the silence between 2 waves breaking on the sand. Then, exhale for 6 seconds, releasing the air slowly, letting go of all the weight you don't need to carry. This rhythm, 4, 2, 6, is not just breathing, it's an internal reset. It's almost a dance with the air, a natural choreography that tells your brain, relax, it's all good. There's no tiger chasing you. I discovered this one day when my boss dropped an impossible deadline on my desk. My head was spinning, my chest felt tight. I breathed like this, 4, 2, 6, and it was like hitting the reset button on a frozen video game. The panic subsided, and I could think, it's the star, the anchor, the foundation that holds you. The second step is to bring your attention to the present, to the physical world right in front of you. Feel the weight of your body in the chair, how it supports you, how firm it is, or notice your feet on the ground, the texture of the carpet, the asphalt, whatever it is. Observe what's around you, the temperature of the air, the distant sound of a car, the pressure of the pen in your hand. It's creating a physical anchor, a safe harbor that pulls you out of the whirlwind of thoughts and onto solid ground. Once, I was stuck in traffic, the clock ticking against me. Instead of freaking out, I focused on the steering wheel, the rough texture, the warmth of my hands. Suddenly, the traffic wasn't the end of the world. It was just something happening. This step reminds you that you're here, alive, and that stress doesn't own your reality. Here, in the third step, is where the magic happens in the mind. Stress loves to paint everything black. It's all lost, you failed, the world ended. But in this step, you observe those thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. You don't fight them. You don't drown in them. You just watch. Okay, my boss is angry, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure. You create an internal space of neutrality, where the event is just an event, not a sentence. There was a day when my sister called me, furious because I forgot her birthday. My head screamed, "You're a selfish jerk." But I paused, let the thought float like a cloud, and thought, she's upset, but I can fix this. The weight lifted, and I bought a cake to make amends. It's like the Stoics say, the problem isn't in the fact, it's in what you do with it. Finally, in the fourth step, release the body. Relax your muscles like leaves falling from a tree on an autumn day. The shoulders, the forehead, the jaw. Let the expectations drain away like water down a sink. Realign your posture, chest open, head held high, as if saying to the world, I'm here and I'm okay. It's the closing of the anchor, the moment when you shake off the stress from your shoulders and breathe. I did this after a heated discussion at work. I was all tensed up, shoulders stiff as a rock. I let it all go, and it felt like taking off a 20-kilogram backpack. This step brings you back to your body, reminds you that stress doesn't control you. Why does this work? Neuroscientists explain that stress activates a part of the brain called the amygdala, which sets off the danger alarm constantly. But when you use the presence anchor, you activate another region, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought and emotional control. In other words, you trade desperation for clarity, anxiety for control. The Buddhist monks have known this for centuries. The Dalai Lama says, peace does not come from outside, but from how you relate to the present moment. And now, neuroscience confirms what the ancient masters already knew. Stress acts like a race car stuck in high gear, accelerating nonstop, burning fuel for nothing, and leaving you exhausted without moving forward. The presence anchor is the brake that this out-of-control car needs. Conscious breathing, that 4-2-6 rhythm, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the calm mode of your body. Studies show that in just a few minutes, this reduces cortisol, slows the heart rate, and sends a direct message to the brain, relax, it's all good. Sensory anchoring brings you back to the present, activating prefrontal cortex, the rational part that says, I control this, instead of letting the amygdala scream run. Instant resignification uses neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to create new pathways, to transform automatic thoughts into conscious choices. And the physical reset, it dissolves the tension that stress loves to build up, releasing serotonin and other neurotransmitters that make you feel light and in control. Think of it this way. Stress is a hacker invading your system, but the presence anchor is the antivirus. It cleans the code, restores your energy, and makes you more resilient. Research on mindfulness and emotional regulation, like that of Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, shows that practices like this increase positive neurotransmitters and strengthen your ability to face chaos without crumbling. It's science with a touch of soul. Let's see if you got it all. Imagine I just received some stressful news, like the Wi-Fi went down right in the middle of the live stream. What do? I'll guide you for real through the 60 seconds live. Close your eyes with me. If you want, conscious breathing. Inhale for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2, 1, 2, and release for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My chest already feels lighter, as if the breath is clearing the mess. Sensory anchoring. Feel my feet on the ground, the pressure, the cold of the floor. Touch the table in front of me. It's rough, solid. I'm here, not in the Wi-Fi drama. Instant resignification. The thought, everything is ruined appears, but I see it as a passing cloud. Okay, the Wi-Fi is down, but I'll figure it out. No panic. Physical reset. Relax the shoulders. They drop like leaves. Relax the forehead. The neck. Lift the chest. Ready, I'm back. Did it with me? Feels like the stress evaporated, right? It's just 60 seconds, but it's like a warm bath for the soul. The beauty of this technique is that it adapts. Stuck at work and the boss cuts you off in a meeting? Breathe in the 4-2-6 rhythm while looking at your notepad. Feel the pen in your hand. Think he's stressed, not me. And relax your shoulders. At home, after a fight, sit down, breathe. Focus on the couch supporting you. Reframe, this doesn't define me. And relax your body. Having an anxiety attack in traffic? Breathe while looking at the steering wheel. Feel the leather. Think, I'll get there when I can. And release the tension. I use a quick version in the supermarket line. Breathe silently. Feel the weight of the bags. Tell myself it's just a weight. And relax. It works even if you have 5 minutes or 5 seconds. It's flexible like water, molding to what you need. How many times have you let stress hijack your peace? How many times have the noises of the world, the traffic, the demands, the buzzing phone, define how you feel? The true revolution is realizing that you're not a bystander in your own story. You're protagonist, the director, the screenwriter. And this technique is the first step to taking control. Final challenge. What was your most challenging moment this week? That day when stress almost won? How did you handle it? Share your story. Each one is a step towards growth. Remember, every breath is a rebirth. Every moment a chance to start over. The revolution begins here, now, with you in command. Bring the presence anchor into your life. You already have the technique. The 4 magical steps of the presence anchor that turn 60 seconds into a portal to calm. But knowing is just the beginning. The real power comes from putting it into action, from making these steps a part of your day like your morning coffee or your commute to work. Stress is a clever adversary. It doesn't give up easily, but with practice, you can turn from a tyrannical boss into a colleague you know how to handle. In this section, I'll guide you step by step to implement the technique, give you tips to hit the target, point out mistakes that almost everyone makes at the beginning, and show you the incredible results you can expect. Let's build this bridge between chaos and peace, one breath at a time, step by step. How to make the technique a habit. Implementing the presence anchor is like learning to ride a bike. At first, you wobble, maybe fall, but over time it becomes natural, almost automatic. Here's the plan to bring these 60 seconds into your daily life in any situation. Here's the challenge. Practice for 7 days. Choose 3 moments in your day to apply the technique. In the morning, when you wake up. In the middle of the day, before a meeting or appointment. At night, to disconnect from stress before bed. Write down how you feel before and after. If you want to go further, comment here about the most stressful moment of your week and how you handled it. In other words, first, map out where stress gets to you. Is it the 9 a.m. meeting when the boss drops a bomb on your lap? The traffic, with horns blaring like an off-key chorus? Or at home, when the kids turn the living room into a noisy playground? Identify these tigers in your life, the moments that make your heart race or your chest tighten. For example, I realized that my trigger was the end-of-day email, the one that arrives just when I'm trying to relax. Knowing where it strikes is the first step to counterattacking. You don't have to wait for a crisis to use the technique. Start with something calm, like the supermarket line, or while waiting for your coffee to brew. Do it like this. Breathe in the 4-2-6 rhythm. Feel the weight of the bags or the warmth of the cup. Reframe, this weight isn't the end of the world. And relax your shoulders. I started practicing in the kitchen. I would breathe while chopping onions, anchor in the sound of a knife, and suddenly even the smell wouldn't irritate me. Small victories build confidence to face the bigger challenges. Choose 3 fixed moments to use a technique every day, like an anchor in your routine. It could be when you wake up, to start light, at lunch to reset, and before bed to let go of the day. I do it in the morning, looking at the sun through the window, breathe, feel the cold floor, think today is a new beginning, and relax. It's like watering a plant. Consistency makes it grow strong. Over time, your body will start asking for these 60 seconds. When stress hits you unexpectedly, the phone rings with bad news, the deadline is tight, pause wherever you are and apply the technique. At work, I've done it silently during a tense meeting. Breathe discreetly, felt the chair reframe. It's just a discussion and release the tension. You don't need a mountain retreat. The presence anchor goes with you into the chaos of real life. After using it, ask yourself, did it work? What did I feel? Write it down in a notebook, on your phone, or even on a napkin. Today in traffic, I breathed and didn't yell at anyone. I did this and noticed that sometimes I forgot the physical reset. So I adjusted to focus more on my shoulders. Reflecting helps you fine-tune the technique, like a musician adjusting their guitar. Fine-tune your anchor to make the presence anchor shine. Here are some practical tips. Think of this as a user manual to get the most out of it. Be intentional. Don't do it on autopilot, like brushing your teeth while thinking about lunch. When you breathe, feel the air coming in. When you anchor, dive into sensation. I've fallen into the trap of rushing it. And guess what? It didn't work. It's like cooking without seasoning. It's bland. Use reminders. Set an alarm on your phone with breathe. At 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., or stick a post-it on your monitor saying anchor now. My reminder is a kettle whistle. When I hear it, I know it's time practice. Engage your senses. If you can, touch something. The table, your phone, a mug. Listen to your surroundings. The ticking of the clock, the wind outside. Once on the bus, I focused on the sound of the engine and the vibration of the seat. I felt grounded instantly. Be kind to yourself. If you skip a step or don't feel total peace, it's okay. I've skipped the resignification on a chaotic day and still felt relief. It's progress, not perfection. Practice with others. Invite a friend or colleague to try it together. Hey, let's do 60 seconds of calm. I did this with my sister, and we laughed trying to synchronize our breathing. It turned into a light moment in the midst of the rush. Avoid these pitfalls. Everyone slips up at the beginning, but knowing where the rocks are, you can jump over them. Here are the mistakes I and others have made, and how to avoid them. Doing it on autopilot. If you breathe without attention or anchoring becomes just, I'm sitting, you lose the impact. I've done this while rushing to work. Breathe quickly. Didn't feel anything and stress laughed at me. Go slow, be present. Judging the process. It's not working, I'm a failure. That thought is stress sabotaging you. There was a day when I thought it didn't work because I was still tense, but I realized my heart was beating slower. Stop demanding, let it flow. Expecting immediate miracles. The technique isn't a magic wand. Sometimes relief comes gradually. I wanted instant peace the first time, but it took days to feel the difference. Patience is key. Ignoring the body. Skipping the physical reset is like leaving the cake without frosting. It works, but something's missing. I've forgotten this and felt my shoulders tense afterward. Include the relaxation. It's essential. Comparing with others. My friend found Zen right away and I didn't. Everyone has their own pace. My cousin became a technique ninja in a week. It took me a month, and that's okay. What you'll gain: less stress, more energy. Your brain stops burning battery on useless worries. Mental clarity. Your thoughts become sharp like a samurai sword. Steel like resilience. What used to knock you down becomes just another challenge. Better sleep. Your nervous system shuts down faster, and your body thanks you. Final challenge. Start today. Don't let the presence anchor be just a nice idea. Bring it into your world now. Choose a moment today. Lunch, traffic, the next tense call, and practice. Breathe, anchor, reframe, relax. In the comments, tell me, where will you use it first? How did you feel afterward? Stress will knock on your door. But you don't have to let it in. Step by step, you take control, and the results? They'll surprise you. This is your practical revolution, starting now with you in command. The ancient wisdom behind the presence anchor. Think of the presence anchor as a bridge that connects ancient wisdom with modern science. A solid structure built from millennial-old knowledge and reinforced by neuroscience. It didn't come out of nowhere. Its roots are deeply embedded in ancient traditions that, thousands of years ago, already understood the chaos of the human mind and traced paths to navigate it. But this goes far beyond just breathing or relaxing. It's about receiving a legacy of strength, balance, and clarity, honed over centuries and now handed to you. When I started practicing the presence anchor, I had no idea I was stepping onto sacred ground, a path already trodden by brilliant minds who faced wars, uncertainties, and the weight of existence long before me. These traditions aren't just distant echoes of the past. They are living maps, timeless guides to those seeking to find calm amidst chaos. Stoicism, Buddhism, Taoism, each with its own voice, but all whispering the same truth that resonates in the 60 seconds of this technique. Let's dive into this. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, sitting in a war tent while the empire trembles around him. He couldn't control the battles, the betrayals, or the uncertain fate, but he could control his mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you'll find strength." Stoicism is like internal armor. It teaches that suffering doesn't come from what happens to you, but from how you interpret it. In the presence anchor, this principle appears in instant resignification. When my boss scolded me in front of everyone, my first reaction was an internal scream, "I'm a failure." But then I paused, breathed, and thought, he's angry, but that doesn't mean I'm the problem. This is what Epictetus, another great Stoic, taught centuries ago. It's not events that disturb us, but our interpretations of them. This philosophy is the backbone of the technique. It gives you the reins to tame the wild horse of your thoughts, instead of being dragged by it. Now, imagine Buddha sitting under a fig tree in Bodh Gaya, 2,500 years ago, observing the mind as one would contemplate a river. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. In Buddhism, stress is like turbulent waves on the surface of a lake. Chaotic frenzy, but deep down, the water remains calm and untouched. Suffering isn't an inevitable destiny. It's just a flow of thoughts that you can learn to observe without drowning in. The conscious breathing and sensory anchoring of the technique come directly from this wisdom. When I was stuck in traffic, my chest tight, I did the 4, 2, 6 breathing and focus on the steering wheel. Gradually, the waves of "I'm going to be late" lost their power, and I accessed the tranquility that had always been there, at the bottom of my own inner lake. The Dalai Lama, echoing Buddha, says, "Peace does not come from outside, but from cultivating calm within you." This is the essence of Buddhism in practice. Letting go of the rope of stress, not pulling it tighter. And then there's Lao Tzu, who over 2,000 years ago wrote the Tao Te Ching. Be like water, which flows around rocks without fighting. Taoism is a philosophy of flow, not about resisting or forcing, but about moving with the natural current of life. Think of water. It doesn't fight the boulder to destroy it. It simply flows around it, shaping it over time. In the presence anchor, the physical reset carries its essence. After a tense day, instead of fighting the stiffness in my shoulders, I simply let it go, like leaves falling in autumn. I didn't force the tension to go away. I let it dissolve on its own, like water trickling down. Taoism taught me that stress is a rock in the path, but I don't need to break it. I can simply flow around it. It's a philosophy that teaches that gentleness, when persistent, overcomes even the toughest obstacles. Now, let's dive deeper into these two pillars, Buddhism and Taoism, because they're like the wise grandparents of the technique, offering lessons that seem simple but dissolve stress like a hot knife through butter. At the heart of Buddhism is the idea of mindfulness, being in the now, not clinging to the past or the future. Observe your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky, says the tradition. Stress lives on stories. I failed in the past. What if tomorrow goes wrong? But when you breathe and anchor in the present, these stories lose their power. There was a day when I was anxious about a presentation. My mind was a cinema of disasters. I used the technique. Breathe, felt the chair, let the what-ifs float like clouds. Suddenly, there was only me, the room, and the chance to speak. The rest evaporated. Buddhism also speaks of non-attachment, not clinging to suffering as if it were your identity. Suffering is resisting what is. Accept in the weight lessons, teaches Buddha, this is an instant resignification. Instead of, I'm doomed, I think this is happening and I move forward. It's freedom in the form of philosophy. Taoism is a master of balance, action and non-action, yin and yang. The greatest strength is the gentleness that overcomes hardness, says Lao Tzu. Think of a river. It doesn't confront a hill. It erodes it slowly, with patience. In the technique, this is the physical reset and breathing. You don't fight stress, you dissolve it. Once, after an argument with my sister, I was stiff as a board. I breathed, relaxed my body, let the heat of anger flow out. I didn't force anything, just let it go. Taoism showed me that fighting stress only feeds it. Flowing with it weakens it. The principle of non-action, Wu Wei, also shines here. It's not laziness, but acting without forcing, as the technique asks you to observe without judging. It's like dancing with life, not stepping on its toes. Psychology takes these ancient ideas and shines a scientific spotlight on them, proving that they're not just poetry. They work in the brain, the body, the life. Let's connect the dots. Dr. Carol Dweck, with her research on mindset, says, stress is a reaction that we can reprogram with practice. This is neuroplasticity. Your brain changes with what you do to it. Each time you breathe in the 4-2-6 rhythm or resignify a thought, you're creating new neural pathways, like opening trails in a dense forest. I felt this after weeks of practicing. The I will fail became I will try almost effortlessly. Daniel Goleman, the guru of emotional intelligence, adds, managing stress is managing your emotions. The sensory anchoring of the technique activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational part that calms the amygdala, the emotional alarm. When I was nervous before an important call, I focused on the pen in my hand. My brain turned off the panic and turned on the clarity. Psychology also embraces Buddhist mindfulness. Studies by Dr. Barbara Fredrickson show that practices like the presence anchor increase neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine while cutting cortisol. After a month of using the technique, I slept better, laughed more. It was science confirming what Buddha already knew. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. The presence anchor is that space. It gives you time to respond, not just react. When my dog ran away, I paused, breathed, chose calm instead of desperation, and he came back. Psychology calls this resilience. The ancients called it wisdom. Stoicism gives you control. Buddhism gives you presence. Taoism gives you flow. And modern psychology gives you proof. Together, they form the presence anchor, not just a technique, but a way of being. Think of Marcus Aurelius writing in war, Buddha meditating under the tree, Lao Tzu observing the river, and now you, in the 21st century, breathing in traffic. Stress changes its face, but the human response transcends time. Which of these philosophies resonates with you the most? The Stoic control, the Buddhist calm, the Taoist flow, or the modern science? Tell me in the comments. And how will you use this today? The wisdom is here, ready to carry you. We are at the starting point of a new way of living. The presence anchor is not just a technique I'm throwing at you. It's a key that unlocks doors as stress is closed, a map that guides you back to yourself, a breath that transforms chaos into clarity. In these minutes together, we've uncovered what stress is, how it dominates us, and most importantly, how to turn the tables with a simple 60-second practice. Now, let's recap this journey, explore the proven benefits of this technique, and equip you with tools to take this forward. Stress may be an old acquaintance, but from today onwards, you're in charge. We started by seeing stress for what it really is, that unwanted guest who shows up unannounced, steals your energy, messes with your mind, and weighs on your shoulders like a stubborn elephant. I told you how it once dominated my life. Crushing deadlines, endless traffic jams, suffocating expectations. and how I believed that carrying this weight was normal, until I realized it didn't have to be that way. Together, we discovered what the Stoics have known for centuries. Suffering doesn't come from the outside world, but from how we interpret what happens. Modern science confirmed this. Cortisol and adrenaline put us in survival mode, even when the danger is just an inconvenient email. That's when the presence anchor came into play for simple yet powerful steps. Conscious breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, exhale for 6, an immediate reset that calms the body. Sensory anchoring. Bring your attention to the present. Feel the ground, the chair support, the touch of your hands, grounding yourself in the now. Instant resignification. Observe your thoughts without getting stuck in them. Swap "I'm doomed" for "I can handle this" and change the narrative. Physical reset. Release the tension. Realign your posture, shake off the day's weight, and regain control. In just 60 seconds, you step out of the stress whirlwind and find the eye of the storm, that space of calm where everything becomes clearer. And now, this tool is in your hands. The next step is yours. What was the most stressful moment of your week, and how did you handle it? Have you tried any stress control techniques before? What worked for you? In the comments, tell me, what was your biggest aha moment today? Which part of this journey stuck with you? Remember, the presence anchor is like a seed planted today. It grows over time, but it needs practice, patience, and intention. The more you water it, the stronger it becomes. So here's my invitation. Take this to the next level. It's not just about surviving stress, but about using every challenge as a springboard for growth, turning every wave into an opportunity to surf higher. If this content resonated with you, leave a like and share it with someone who also needs this tool to regain control of their mind. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And remember, you're not alone. Every step counts. Every breath is a new beginning. Want to dive even deeper? Download our exclusive guide on the presence anchor in the first pinned comment and discover more about how to apply this technique in your daily life, simply and powerfully. Don't stop here. Choose one of the recommended videos on the screen to continue your journey of self-development and find more strategies for a calmer, clearer life. The transformation starts now, with you at the helm of your ship. Shall we embark together? See you next time.